I'm Brian O'Keefe, Assistant Managing Editor at Fortune Magazine. I'm pleased to be joined by Texas Governor Rick Perry, who has a new book called Fed Up, and it's all about how we need to rebalance the power in the United States away from the federal government and towards the states. And thanks for joining
Brian,
me,
thank
Governor.
you. It's good to be here with you.
A lot of people are going to look at this and think it's a preamble to a presidential
Right.
run for you in 2 years. Let's get that out of the way. What are your plans? Are you?
I'm going to be the
looking at
governor.
that?
I'm going to be the governor of the greatest state in the nation for the next 4 years, Lord willing. And I have no interest in going to Washington D.C. as a president, vice president, cabinet member. You know, I'll go conduct my work up there, go to the museums, which they got great ones up there, but have no interest. I want to help moderate, if you will, a very important discussion about Washington's overreach, their abusing of the Constitution, and this book, I think, lays it out in a fairly easily followed way about where they've been overreaching, telling the states how to run their business, and we think that is not only bad for the future of our country. I think it's bad for the world, because states are where the competition occurs. States are where the best way to deliver health care will be decided by each of the states, we think, not centralized in Washington, D.C.
There's a big undercurrent of uncertainty and even fear in the country right now. We have high unemployment, above 9% nationally, higher in certain places. We have a foreclosure crisis. You know, that led to the landslide victory we had for the Republicans this week, and the whole Tea Party movement fed off of that. How do we translate that? How do the Republicans and the Tea Party folks translate that into economic policies? What should those economic policies be to address them?
Well, stopping the spending. Quit spending money we don't have on programs we don't want. And I think that's too often, Democrats and Republicans crossed the Potomac River and they got infested with some virus that caused them to leave their beliefs back home, particularly on economic and budgetary issues. So the Republicans that were elected, and I think the Republicans who have been in office, they better have heard the clarion call from the electorate that we don't want you spending. And I think that's one of the first places they need to address defunding some of these programs that this administration and this current Congress have funded. Cut out the earmarks. Clearly send the message to the American people, we heard you and we're responding to it.
It's one thing to say no to spending on programs that we don't want. It's another thing to try to kickstart growth. I mean, what are the ways that the government can address those issues, fund programs that would be useful, that stimulate economic growth?
Here's my approach to that is that's not the federal government's responsibility to be stimulating growth. It's the federal government's responsibility to defend our borders, to stand a military, and to deliver the mail, preferably on Saturdays and on time. Get those right before you get into all these other areas of which they want to come and micromanage the states. I happen to believe in the state of Texas, we lead the nation in job creation. 850,000 new jobs created in the decade of the 2000s. We've created 4 out of 5 private sector jobs from 2005 through 2009. That was done because we have a relatively low tax structure, a regulatory climate that is fair and predictable, a legal system that doesn't allow for oversuing, and we continue to fund appropriately accountable public schools. Then we get out of the way. And I think that's what the federal government is having a really hard time understanding, is kind of like, you all don't want us? No, we don't want you out there trying to create jobs. Let the private sector do that.
Right.
Government does not create jobs. They can create the barrier to job creation and wealth creation, and they're doing a pretty good job of that right now.
Over the past couple of years, starting under the Bush administration, then continuing under the Obama administration, there was a lot of bailout money spent, bailout of the auto industry and a lot of the banking industry, which arguably preserved a lot of jobs. Do you think that those were the wrong steps to take? Do you think that we should have let companies fail?
I think the federal government should back out of the private sector's business. The idea that we own an automobile industry today is really foreign to me, and that's the reason we have bankruptcy laws. bad business decisions need to be, let the market work its way through. Would there have been people lost their jobs? I don't know whether there would have been or not. I have an idea somebody would come in and take a company over and efficiently run it. But the fact is the federal government shouldn't be in the business of owning an automobile company, nor for that matter should they have been bailing out the banks.